Hey YouTube, it's Watachi again. In this video, roll this back window up, cut out some of that noise. But this video is once again about the Constitution. I put a video link in my description for somebody who he's a First Amendment auditor is what they call themselves, but they go around and they do audits on government offices and government officials like cops or politicians or whoever. But they go around and audit these people and see to it that they're following the laws and that their First Amendment right, freedom of press basically, is not, being attacked. Or is not unlawfully being stopped. But this guy, he was standing on a public sidewalk in a public location where by law he's allowed to record anything he wants to record. When you're out in public, you have no expectation of privacy. And this goes even more so for cops, politicians, any government official that's paid off of taxpayers' money. You have the right to know what they're doing when they're working. And you have the right to videotape them. Well, he was out, I guess he must have been videotaping some police officers that had some kind of a stop going on, or they were somewhere. He can tell you more about it in the video. But they come up wanting to know who he was because he was videotaping them. And without reasonable suspicion of him being either have already committed a crime, in the process of committing a crime, or he's about to commit a crime, they have no right to ask you for ID. Just because they want to know who you are, that isn't good enough. It's unlawful. And so he refused ID. Well, they decided, okay, we're going to arrest you unlawfully. And they did. And at first, they arrested him for disorderly conduct, which is their go-to if they ask you questions and you don't want to answer them, or if they ask you for unlawfully ask you for ID and you don't want to give it to them. That's their go-to charge to arrest you on. Disorderly conduct. Now, 9 times out of 10, it'll be dismissed in court just for the fact that it was unlawful. But what they did is they arrested him on that and then later changed it, which, of course, the government can do whatever they want. They then changed it to obstruction of justice, which what that means is what that cop feels to be justice, and him asking you for ID, he feels he can do whatever he wants. So if you don't give it, then you're obstructing him. So they call it obstruction of justice, which isn't true. And I use the word if on this, if the Constitution was still in effect for you and I, that would stand up in court and the charges would still be dismissed. But I keep telling you people, and I know a lot of you don't believe me. You call me stupid, call me a dumbass hillbilly and everything. And you think I don't know nothing because of my accent. Well, I've been trying to tell you people that the Civil War was not fought to free anybody. It was actually fought to enslave all of us. At the end of the Civil War, because they tricked us into fighting each other, and the North fighting the South, and all we ended up doing was bankrupting the entire nation. We had nothing left when it was over. So the elitists told Congress to sell us down the river to the Federal Reserve, and they brought the Federal Reserve in and basically enslaved us all to the Federal Reserve. Now, the way they did this is they not only turned our government into a corporation, they turned each and every one of us and everybody that would be born after that or become a citizen after that into corporations. And you don't have to look no farther than your driver's license, your Social Security card, your birth certificate, or any other document that you get from the U.S. government. And as soon as you sign that document, you're agreeing to the fact that you are a corporation. As soon as you, let's say you get a speeding ticket and you get into court. First time you go to court, the judge is, we're just here to find out how you're going to plead. If you're going to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest. As soon as you answer one of those three answers, you're giving them jurisdiction to charge and prosecute you in Maritime Admiralty Court. Now, they're never going to own up to that. I've tried to force them to admit under what jurisdiction they have charged me and prosecuted me, and in order for me to fight the case, I have the right to know the proceedings of how to use and understand the law to my best ability to fight my own case. Now, I had a damn seatbelt ticket. A cop, state trooper from where I live, wrote me a ticket stating that I did not have my seatbelt on. Now, he didn't know I was recording him at the time. And I'm pretty sure the video's on my YouTube channel. You'll just have to look for it. But I got him to admit when he was done and over with, he handed me my ticket. I didn't say a word to him other than that. He handed me my ticket, and he asked me if I had any questions. I said yes, and I asked him for his name and badge number. He gave it. And after that, I asked him, did I have my seatbelt on when you pulled me over? And he said yes. Now, I took this video that he didn't know about, and I went into court. Well, I didn't plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest, and the judge decided he told me if I didn't plead, he was going to plead for me. And I explained to him that according to the Constitution, him as a judge, he cannot practice law from the bench, and that would be an obstruction of justice if he did so. He did not care. And just like this guy says in the video that I've left in my description, they basically told him the same thing. They don't care what the Constitution says because, and this is why, because you're not being tried under constitutional law, you're being tried under Maritime Admiralty law, which is corporate law. So, doesn't matter what the Constitution says. Now, that judge went ahead and pleaded not guilty for me, so I ended up having to come back. And at the time, the next time I came to court, the damn prosecutor pulled me in his office. And he sat me down and said, now I'm going to fine you $25 today if you plead guilty. You can walk out right now, pay the $25, it's done and over with. And I told him, I said, man, I've got a video of this clown. The officer was sitting right behind me. And I told him, I got a video of this clown that says I had my seatbelt on when he pulled me over. And that officer jumped up, said, no, he don't. If he had his seatbelt on, I wouldn't have gave him the ticket. And I looked at the prosecutor and I said, do you want to see the video? Or the prosecutor looked at me and said, no, we're not playing your games. And I said, okay. He goes, now, I'm going to make you that offer one more time. $25, you plead guilty, you're out of here. If you go in front of the judge, you're going to pay $100 in court costs too. And I stood up, told him, I don't make deals with the devil's herd. I'll see the judge. So we went in, they did their whole song and dance, the cop and the prosecutor, and he talked about, got the cop to say how long he'd been a cop, and how he saw me driving down what such and such road, and he pulled me over and wrote me the ticket and all this shit. Well, after he was done, the judge asked me if I had any questions for the witness. I said, only two. And he said, go ahead. And I asked that cop, I said, have you ever pulled me over before? And the cop said, nope, it's the only time I ever met you. Second question was, I said, asked him, do you know, or did you ever state that I had my seatbelt on when you pulled me over? And he says, I sure did, Your Honor, or I wouldn't have wrote him the ticket. And I said, okay, now, Your Honor, if you'll allow me to turn on my phone, because where I'm at, you're not even allowed to have your phone on in this courtroom. But I told him, I said, if you'll allow me to turn on my phone, I'll show you a video that says that he says exactly that. And so the judge said, all right, turn your phone on, let me see it. I played the video for him. The prosecutor, the cop, and the judge's jaws all dropped. They could not believe that I had a video of this police officer stating that I had my seatbelt on when he pulled me over. They could not believe it. The judge said, okay, well, with the evidence in front of me here today, I have to drop all charges against this guy. So I walked out of there smiling. Everybody in the courtroom was smiling as I walked by them because they knew I got them. Well, as I sat outside, I was waiting for my paperwork because I wanted a copy of the paperwork saying it was all dropped, dismissed. Here come the judge, or the cop and the prosecutor, and they come out laughing. Well, I proved that cop could stand there in a court of law and lie to a judge and nothing's going to happen. That's because they are all working for the same people. The judge, the prosecutor, and the cop all work for the Bar Association, and none of them work for you. None of them. There ain't nothing about any of these court systems, the cops, or anything, has anything to do with you. You all let them lie to you, and you all believe they work for you, which they don't. They work for the city, county, or state, the police, and the judges work for the government, period. I mean, whether it's a federal judge, they do not work for you and I. As much as you like to believe that, they don't. They work for the corporation of the United States. Now, this guy in this video, I'll let him tell his own story, but he found out the hard way. And I've tried to tell people over and over that if you'll just look up the Act of 1871, you'll understand what's happened to this country. And there ain't nothing here, none of it, that has anything to do with the Constitution anymore. You have to give up your license. You have to give up your plates and insurance. You have to give up your marriage license, your Social Security number. You would have to send all that shit back in, decline every damn bit of it. Then they want to call you a sovereign citizen, which Obama turned that into a terrorist organization. So if you claim to be a sovereign citizen, which we originally were, even the states were sovereign states, and we were sovereign citizens of the Republic of the United States of America. But they've turned that into a bad word now. It's a terrorist organization, and you can be arrested and held indefinitely in jail without even being charged if you claim to be a sovereign citizen. And truly, the only sovereign citizens in this United States anymore is the politicians and the police departments. They're the only ones that are above the law, and they'll tell you that. But people, just watch this video. If you got a few minutes, watch the video. Maybe you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. And until we all come together on this as a country, and we all stand up and say we are done with this, they keep us at each other's throats. Democrats against Republicans, liberals against the conservatives, blacks against whites, Mexicans against every damn buddy, Muslims against every damn buddy, religious people against atheists, gays against non-gays. They keep us all at each other's throats so we don't stand together. And until y'all get over all this bullshit that we shouldn't even be fighting over, that has nothing to do with real reality or life itself, till you guys all get over all this crap and stand back up as a country, we're not going to get this country back. You might as well get over it and realize you're no longer a flesh and blood human being. You are a corporation owned by the Federal Reserve, and your name in all capital letters is actually bought and sold on the stock exchange. When you come into this world, when you're born as a citizen of the United States, you're over $3 million in debt the minute you're born. And it gets larger throughout your life. And you can never pay it off. Ever. You can never pay it off. So, people, think about what I'm telling you. Research what I'm telling you. It'll make your life easier. Or maybe one day we'll all stand up and take this country back. But Donald Trump can't do it by himself. Nobody in Washington, D.C. is going to cut their own free ride, their own stealing of taxpayers' money to line their own pockets. They're not going to cut their own throats to give us back power. They're not going to do it. And if you think they are, you're dumb as they fucking are. I'm sorry, but I try not to cuss, but that's the damn truth right there. May God bless us all, people, because we're going to need it. Have a good day.